Good morning, everybody. It's Iain from RTO here. Welcome to Thursday, and welcome to another Then and Now. Today's band in the spotlight are Canadian rock legends Rush. You know the format, we look at the first album, look at the second album, their final album, compare them, pull them apart, look at what people thought of them and then we look at the albums in between. But today, as there's so many Rush albums, I'm just going to pick a few tracks off each album that stand out. We'll be here forever doing this one. But as usual, if you want to see this a full ranking of Rush, which will definitely be on a Wednesday because there's loads of albums, just ask and I will do. But if you don't ask, I don't do. So Rush, formed in 1968 by Alex Lifeson, John Rutsey and a guy called Jeff Jones, who then was immediately replaced. They went through all these, did all this hard work, getting known, and then all of a sudden they went into the recording studios and they recorded their debut album called Rush, released in 1974. Now, it was originally recorded in Toronto and was engineered by a guy called Dave Stock. It was done during the middle of the night because they were a poor band at the time. They found when they were not happy about it, so they went and did it themselves. And what we got was the first album. And appearing on this was Geddy Lee, Alex Lifeson, and John Rutsey's only performance on an album. And it's sad what happened to him. You know, he had diabetes and he couldn't, his medication going on tour. So that's why John didn't hang around, and not because he weren't no good, because he was a good drummer, but it was his health. So let's have a look at the tracks on Rush. First one, Finding My Way. To this day on, I still love that opening riff of this song. Great riff from Alex. And once you hear that riff, you know what it is. And this song is, to me, still as popular as it was back in 1974. And then of course we've got that unique voice of Geddy Lee. Hits them high notes, something rotten, doesn't he? He's a brilliant singer, and it's a great track, and it's my favourite on the album. Then we have Need Some Love. This is a really good track. It's quite rocky. A lot of these tracks on this album are really rocky, but you can see where they were going. You know that there was something here. Then we get Take a Friend. It's got a great guitar solo on this. It's a little bit basic, this track, but there's nothing wrong with it. This is 1974. This is Rush's first album. Can't ask for much more. Here again, this is quite a mellow track. Geddy's singing on this is really good. Just proves that he can rock it hard, and then he can sing these nice mellow songs. And we do get another really good guitar solo from Alex. Then we get What You're Doing. Solid song. Love the bass line in this from Geddy. Really strong. And then we get In the Mood. It's not too bad. It's solid. It's not a bad track. There's no bad tracks on this album. And it's quite a good track. Then we get Before and After. Another slow track, but it's pretty good. Nothing wrong with it at all. Really good track. Then we get the brilliant Working Man, classic track from Rush, of course. Superb guitar solo in this. It's still a favourite of everybody's, even to this day. Okay, obviously, this is what I think of this album. I think it's a little bit different from what came after, but it's a good album. It's got some solid rock songs on it. You know, Alex is good. He's a good guitarist, and you could tell, you know, he was a young man at the time. Geddy Lee's voice is just out of this world, and even John Rutsch's drumming, very good drummer, and he did a solid performance on this album. I mean, it's still got two classics, you know, that they played right up to the very end in some form. We got Working Man, used to play that, and of course Finding My Way. I mean, the best bit of that is when they did, I think it was their 30th anniversary tour, when they did that medley before they went into Spirit Radio, and the opening chord was Finding My Way, which is absolutely brilliant song. Okay, what did the critics think of it? Well, they did. They got some positive reviews. The Ottawa Citizen, Bill Provic, praised the band's immediate acceleration and driving crisp sound, although he felt that the energy needs to be more channeling, and arrangements need a touch more refining. Yes, but it did, didn't it? He said that Geddy sounded like a bit like Robert Plant, and he thought that there was some solid work from Alex Lifeson and some solid drumming from John Rutschy. However, as time went on, people were a little bit less enthusiastic. Greg Presto, good name really, of All Music, stated in his review of the album that it's weaker than some of the band's later work. Duh! Of course, it's their first album. You know, state the obvious. And he's saying it because Neil Peart wasn't part of the band. Okay, as we know, Neil was a driving force and wrote most of the lyrics. But he says, while long-time Rush fans can appreciate their debut album because they never returned to this style, newcomers should stick with their classics from later years. Wrong. I don't agree with that. When you get into a band, you always have to listen to that first album, regardless. When I pick up a new band, the first album I always go to is, I go for the first one, and then I go to their current one. A bit like this show, Then and Now. You need to go back and see where it also. You can't dismiss debut albums. And as a debut album, I thought this was a very good debut album. So I don't know what this Greg Prato's talking about. Yeah, never mind. I mean, the Rolling Stone, All Music gave it 2 stars. Rolling Stone album guy gave it 2. Okay. Let's have a look at some figures here. So, song quality on this. They're very good songs. I mean, Working Man is a great song. Finding My Way is a great song. But it was work in progress, I would say. So I give it a 3 out of 5. Production, very well produced. I don't know what the original one sounded like, but it weren't that very good if the boys thought, no, we can do a better job. So for the production, I'll give it 4 out of 5. Reception. Well, when it came out, everyone, it got a lot of praise, and a lot of Rush fans that I know always speak highly of this album. We all have to start somewhere. It's like me and doing this. I have to start somewhere. Everyone that does something has to start somewhere. I don't care what people, this Greg Prato said about it. He's allowed his opinion, but it is a very good album and fans did like it. So for reception, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. So that gives us a total, an RTO ranking of 11 out of 15. Pretty good score. Okay, as it's Thursday, you know what we do. We get in that time machine and go forward 38 years. Cool, long time. And we end up in 2012 for the 19th and final album of Rush's career, Clockwork Angels, released on the 12th of June 2012. I remember getting this. The album was recorded in 2010. It was after their Snakes and Arrows tour when they took a rest. It was produced by the band and Nick Rusklinski, and on the album, of course, we've got Geddy Lee, Alex Lifeson, and the one and only Mr. Neil Peart. Also, Dave Campbell did some string arrangements and some piano by a guy called Jason Snyderman. So have a look at these tracks. First track, Caravan. Oh God, I love this. I remember putting it on for the first time and go, wow, this is good. This is very good. It sort of harks back to the early days in places, and it is brilliant. Great vocal from Geddy, and Neil, well, the man crushed it on this. Great track. Second track, Be You To Be, another ripping rock track. Get different sort of sounds here. Geddy's on fire. The performance from all three of them is superb. Clockwork Orange's title track. Some fine drumming again from Neil Peart. This is top-notch stuff. He is the great, one of the greatest drummers that ever lived, in my eyes. That's a brilliant track. Then we get the Anarchist, another great track. Great guitar riffs from Alex. Again, superb drumming from Neil. Carnies, the sound's just full of solid stuff. It's another great guitar riffs in here from Alex. Fantastic stuff. Halo Effect. I'd say this is one of the weaker tracks on the album. It's not a bad track, don't get me wrong, but it hasn't got the same effect that the rest of the tracks have on me. Seven Cities of Gold. Doesn't that Rickenbacker bass sound good on this? Oh, I love the sound of the Rickenbacker. Doesn't matter who's playing it. There's two people I think that play it the best. Well, there's three. There's Lemmy, Chris Squire, and Mr. Geddy Lee. They are the kings of the Rickenbacker. All three of them play different styles, but all three have got a unique sound. And I love the drumming again on this from Neil. and you get lots of little guitar effects from Alex on this one. The Wreckers, solid as you like, nothing wrong with that one. Headlong Flight, my favourite track on this album. Love the heaviness of this. The riffs are very heavy, very strong, and a fantastic drum as ever. Then we get a little interlude of BU2B. That's alright. I have an issue with these little bits of other tracks, but it's quite pleasant. Nothing wrong with that. Wish Them Well. Again, not the best out track on the album. Probably my least favourite, but it's okay. And we end the album on The Garden. I really like this. I love the extra piano from Jason Snyderman. Good performance on that from him, and some nice vocals from Geddy, and a nice way to end the album, their final album. I think this is probably the best album that they've done in the later years, without a doubt. They started their career strong and they ended their career strong. This is just an awesome album. It does go back to the early days. But it's got that modern feel. It's 1974 brought up to 2012 in my eyes. Lot less keyboards, but nice arrangement, especially with the strings. Fantastic album. I can't praise this one enough. One of my favourite albums. I'm not going to tell you how much my favourite is, because I'm hoping that someone might ask me to do a ranking. I'm sure there will be. People are starting to do that now. Okay, so what did the critics think? Well, the critics did like it. It holds a score of 74 out of 100 on the Metriactic, based on the 14 reviews, which generally favourable. AllMusic gave it a 4 stars. The Austin Chronicle, for some reason, gave it 2 stars. The AV Club give it an A. Doublemouth give it 8 out of 10. Consequence of Sound gave it 4. Guardian gave it 4. Metal Hammer, blimey, the stars are small on this. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I counted that right. 7 stars. Now give it 4 stars. Pop Matters gave it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Rolling Stone, now they're always the ones that are pretty crap at giving out ratings, but they nearly give it 4 stars. I'm shocked. What did the fans think? Well, on the American Billboard, it debuted at number 2. Canada, of course, it went straight in at number 1. Over in the UK, had this been released for eligible UK album charts, the album would have debuted at number 1. But as more people bought the fan pack than the album alone, it later debuted at 76, but reached number 21. Why didn't it get a release like it everywhere else? Because they'd have had it at number 1 in this country, which would have been fabulous. I brought the album. I didn't bother with the blooming digipack rubbish. I didn't buy the album. I brought it off iTunes and downloaded it onto my pod, and I play it all the time. It's a brilliant album. So let's have a look at the nuts and bolts of it. Song quality on here is fantastic. Neil writes some great lyrics, and there's some great lyrics on this album, so I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Production, as ever, Rush produce. Their production on their albums is absolutely spot on. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. Reception. Everybody loved it. Simple as. So there's only one score I can give it. That's a 5. So nearly a full house for Clockwork Angels. I think what let it down, there's a couple of songs on there I think they're a little bit weak, so it didn't get a full house. So, but a 14 out of 15 is a fantastic score for a fantastic album, and what a way to end the recording career of a fantastic band. Okay then, but of course they had some really good albums in between, of course. So we'll have a quick look at these. We won't go into lots of detail because it'll take me, we'll be here forever. Okay, the next album after the debut was 1975's Fly By Night. First one that featured Neil. It's got some really good tracks. I'll go through the tracks. And this one's got Anthem, Best I Can, Beneath, Between, Beyond. Then it's got The Brilliant by Tor and the Snow Dog. I love this track. It's got some great little moments, especially about halfway through this great rapport between Alex and Neil. Great little playoff. Then we get the title track, Fly By Night. Great guitar solo on here by Alex. Making Memories, Rivendell, and In the End. Solid album. Again, 1975, busy year for them. Careless of Steel opens up with a fantastic Bastille Day. That opening riff is always, and loved Neil's drumming on this. I Think I'm Going Bold, Lakeside Park, another corker. The Necromancer, a nice little epic. Then side 2 is just dedicated to the Fountain of Lameth. Classic track from Rush. Love that proggy sound. Great drumming. Awesome. Great track. Love it to death. 76. It's an album with features on the classic albums, of course. 2112. Just some great stuff on this. 2112 is just brilliant. Especially that ending bit. It's so dramatic. Also on here we've got A Passion to Bangkok. Love that little riff and the little bit of percussion. Twilight Zone, good. Lessons, great rocker. Tears, it's the weakest track on the album, but there we go. And then Something for Nothing, another great track. 1977, Farewell to Kings, another solid album. Got some great tracks on here. Opening track, Farewell to Kings, pretty cool. Then we get the brilliant Xanadu. I love the keyboard in this. It sounds so much like Yes. It's from that era. Yes could have done this. Very, very good. Side 2, Closer to the Heart. I've never been a great fan of that. Cinderella Man, pretty good. Magral, pretty good. Then we get the brilliant Cygnus X1 Book 1. Great proggy track. Love the drumming in this. Get some crisp guitar work from Alex. Fantastic. 1978, we get Hemispheres. First track is Cygnus X1 Book 2. It's great listening to both Cygnus 1 and Book 1, Book 2 together. I have actually done it and it follows lovely. It's excellent again. Fantastic track. Side 2 we get Circumstances. Then we get The Trees, which is an absolute brilliant track. And then we get La Villa Strangitato. Never can pronounce that, but it's still a brilliant track. I love that Spanish guitar on it at the beginning. Some really nice keyboards. And it's got some great vocal from Geddy. Absolutely perfect performance. Fantastic album. 1980, you get Permanent Waves. Again, starts off with the brilliant Spirit of Radio. This is a classic. Love the guitar work from Alex. And my favourite bit of this, believe it or not, is the little xylophone piece from Neil. And when he does it live, it even sounds better. Fantastic track. Free Will, the classic, brilliant track. Love it. Then we get Jacob's Ladder, very good track. Then Entree New, different strings, still all brilliant tracks. Then we get Natural Science. Yeah, that keyboard starting to creep into their work now, but it's not a bad thing, it just adds to it. But you get that combination of the keyboards and the guitar on this track, and it's very, very good. Love this track. Move on to 1981, a classic album, Moving Pictures. Tom Sawyer, of course. Don't have to say too much about that track. Red Barocheta, another corker. YYZ, some of Neil's best drumming on that. Then the superb Limelight, absolutely stonking opening riff on that. Then there's side 2, the side that everyone forgets about, and I love this side. You get Camera and I stonking, Witch Hunt is brilliant, and Vital Signs. 1982 then, the light's fading again. This is a common thing this week. Gonna put some light on. I do apologise. I think we're gonna have to start putting the lights on. It's no good. Right, where we are, Signals. Opens up with one of my favourite tracks by Rush, Subdivisions. I love the drumming at the beginning of this. It is so intricate, and people have tried to copy it and they just can't do it. It is a brilliant track. The Analog Kid, of course, is a fantastic track. Chemistry, Digital Man, The Weapon, pretty cool track. In a New World Man's a pretty cool track. Losing It. Countdown, great track. Second favourite on the album. Wonderful stuff. 1984 then, we get Grace Under Pressure. Distance, Early Warning, pretty cool. After Image, pretty good. Red Sector A, love this. One of my favourite tracks on the album. That hooky melody, very foot tapping. Great guitar work from Alex on this. The Enemy Within, pretty good. The Body Electric's okay. Kid Gloves, Red Lenses. And then we get Between the Wheels. Another of those great intros from a Rush song. Some more terrific drumming from Neil on that track. Fantastic stuff. Then we get Power Windows. Yeah, not my favourite album, and I'm not saying where I'd put it. It's got the Big Money, Grand Designs, the Manhattan Project. Great Rickenbacker on that, and some great keyboards. Marathon. Then we get Territories, Middletown Dreams, Emotional Detector, Mystic Rhythms. I love this. I just love all the percussion on this from Neil. Pretty good track. 1987 then, Hold Your Fire. Force 10, great little rocker this is. Love the bass and guitar on that, absolutely cracking. Time, Stand Still, pretty cool. Open Your Secret, Second Nature, Prime Mover. Lock and Key, Mission, Turn the Page. Again, a really good track. Great solo on there from Alex. Tyshawn and High Water. Then we come to 1989 for Presto. Show Don't Tell's pretty good. Chain Lightning's okay. The Past, War Paint, another good track. Scars and Presto. Then Superconductor. Anagram. I like this track. I love the keyboard arrangements in this track. The drums are fantastic. And this is one of them tracks where the drums and the keyboards work very well together, and then you get that little incidental guitar riff from Alex. Fantastic track. Red Tide, Hand Over Fist, and Available Light ends the album. Then we go to 1991, Roll the Bones. Opens up with Dreamline and Bravado. Roll the Bones, very good track. Face Up, Where's My Thing, pretty cool. Then we get my favourite track on the album. Love the bass line on this, Big Wheel. Hearsay's pretty good. Ghost of Chance Corker. Neurotica pretty good. You Bet Your Life. Really good track as well. Then we get 1993's Counterparts. Great album this is. Anime, love the drumming on it. It's a great rocker. Stick It Out, heavy rock track this is. Absolutely opening riff is brilliant. Cut to the Chase, Nobody's Heroes, Between Sun and Moon, Alien Shore, The Speed of Love, Double Agent, great bass line here. And Neil's drumming on that is absolutely brilliant. Then we get a stunning little instrumental called Love That Thing Alone, Cold Fire and Everyday Glory. Then we move on to 1996 for Test for Echo. Test for Echo opens the album, pretty good. Driven, lovely start to this one again, nice drumming from Neil. And then you've got Geddy Lee and Alex just ripping away at the track as well, fantastic. Half the World, The Colour Right, Time in Motion, I love the melody in this one. Totem's cool, Dog Ears, heavy rock track, fantastic. Virtuality, Resist, Limbo and Carve Away the Stone make up the rest of the album. Moving on, we're going into the new century now, and 2002, Vapor Trails, One Little Victory. This is probably some of the heaviest drumming Neil ever did. Absolutely brilliant. It just proves what a fantastic drummer he was. He could be subtle, he could be gentle, and boy could he be rocky. And again, we've got a driving bass line from Geddy Lee. Ceiling Unlimited, Ghost Rider, Peaceable Kingdom, another heavy track with some great guitar work from Alex and an unbelievable bass line. Some of the heaviest music from Rush. The Stars Look Down, How It Is and Vapor Trail, pretty cool. Secret Touch and Earthshine and Miracle, Noctua, Freeze. Out of the Cradle ends the album. Snakes and Arrows is the next album, 2007. Opens up with the brilliant Far Cry, one of my favourite tracks by the band. I just love the heaviness of this. Armour and Swords, pretty good. Working Them Angels, another one. A Larger Bowl, fantastic track. Spindrift, pretty cool. Then we get a brilliant new instrumental called The Main Monkey Business. Really heavy bass, great little guitar breaks, and as ever, Neil is absolutely all over it. Hope, The Way the Wind Blows, pretty cool. Hope, another instrumental that's pretty good. Bit more acousticy. Faithless is pretty good. Bravest Face, good. Good News first, and then Malignant Narcissism, another nice little instrumental, and We Hold On. Some great stuff there. I'll just say that I do not dislike any of Rush's albums, and I don't dislike the different genres of music they played during their career. Nothing wrong with that. They just went with the times. But if you want to know more about Rush, you'll have to ask me to do a full ranking. Okay, that's that one done. It's always nice talking about one of your favourite bands. Okay, we've got the usual plugs. I don't know where my sheet is. I've had a bit of a tidy up and I can't find it. What have I done with it? He says. Do you know when you tidy up and you tidy up and you can't find it? Oh well, you know what I'm going to say. Christmas quiz, 23rd of December. If you want the answer sheet to take part, email me here and I will send you one. Also, don't forget to have a check out Redbubble. There's some merchandise. Click on the icon on the banner page, and don't forget tonight or a bit later, whenever you see this, we have got a live stream just for a bit of fun, see what's happening and what's occurring. But before that, we have got an album artwork show, and we're doing a best to worst on Sparks So I'll be back for that later. Take care for now.